6 p.m. Mr. Secretary, if you could take roll call, sir.
Present.
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 All right, thank you. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Need a motion on the floor for approval of the agenda, please.
So move.
Support.
So moved by Trustee Bowman, supported by Trustee David Smith. Questions, comments, or concerns to the agenda? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee David Smith,
Yes.
President Gary,
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Hannah.
Yes.
No, he's right here.
He's here. Trustee, oh, there he is. Trustee Gary.
Yes.
He voted yes. My man, Trustee Turner
Yes.
and Trustee Vice President Gordon.
Yes.
Sir, pass 7-0.
All right, thank you. Going to move down to awards and recognitions. We don't have any on this current meeting. Recognition of elected officials. Okay. We have Trustee Curry from the Library Board. Ma'am, do you want to address anything? Want to say anything to the board? No, Dr. Curry? No? Okay. Trustees, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
All right, thank you. We're going to move down to the consent agenda items. Need a motion on the floor for the consent agenda?
So move.
So moved by Trustee Bowman,
Support.
supported by Trustee David Smith. Questions, comments, or concerns? Roll call.
President Gary,
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Terry.
Yes.
Trustee Turner.
Yes.
Vice President Gordon.
Yes.
President David Smith.
Yes.
Sir, consent agenda pass 7-0.
Awesome. Thank you. Going to move down to information from the Superintendent Administration, down to the Superintendent Report. A1, Superintendent, I turn the meeting over to you.
Thank you very much. We are excited to have a board presentation for a potential adoption of a math middle school resource. And so we would like for Dr. Echols and Stacy Jackson to do a short presentation to update you on the process of the adoption of the new math resource, which has been in place for over 10 years. So to stay current with our standards, state standards, and to ensure that we are providing our students with the most updated resources as it relates to textbooks, we would like to do a report on the potential adoption of the new resource. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Echols at this time.
Good evening, Superintendent Williams, President Garrett, our trustees, staff members, and community members. I'd like to start first by commending the work of our math and science supervisor, Stacy Jackson, for her leadership and diligence for the past 7 months, along with our secondary math teachers, to ensure that we adopt a math resource that fits the needs of our district to improve mathematic instruction. Our Pontiac School District stakeholders have engaged in a very rigorous and a strategic process in recommending the adoption of the Envision Mathematics resource. The presentation this evening will provide the middle school math adoption team members the reasons why there is a need for a new middle school math resource, the strategic process, and the next steps that will include the development of a framework, creating pacing guides, and providing job-embedded professional development sessions to our teachers. As it relates to Envision Mathematics, it combines problem-based learning and visual learning to deepen students' conceptual understanding. The lessons start with problem-based learning, where students must think critically about real-world math problems, evaluate options, collaborate, and present the best solutions to help students better understand math ideas and concepts. So at this time, I will turn it over to Stacy Jackson, who will share her screen to present the presentation on this evening.
Good evening. I am happy to share with everyone tonight an explanation of all the hard work that has been done by our middle school math team in making a really tough decision around what's best for our students. The team included myself along with teachers at PMS and ITA, Angela Gines, Jennifer Hendo, Carrie Olds, Elizabeth Schilling, Elizabeth Boltis, and also support from Risha Johnson, the math consultant at Oakland Schools, along with feedback from our stakeholders, our parents, our students, our special education teachers, our ELL teachers, all took part in helping them make this decision and this recommendation tonight. I want to talk a little bit about why there was a need for change. Connected Mathematics Project 3 is the math resource we've been using since 2015. And to be completely honest, teachers, as well as myself, have been concerned over the last couple of years about how well this math resource really fit the needs of our students. But especially during the pandemic, we realized that there were lots of gaps and disparities in this math resource, to the point where we felt like it was an emergency to start trying out something different that would be a better fit for our students. The math resource that we were currently using no longer met the needs of students and teachers in regards to alignment. It did not attend to the major work of each grade. Each grade has specific standards that is major work for that grade, and Connected Mathematics Project, especially in grades 6 and 7, did not attend to those needs and alignment. And it was just very poor coherence. There were lots of gaps, spaces where curriculum or standards were covered too lightly, spaces where they were not covered at all. And then usability. We really learned during the pandemic the lack of technology usage for this resource, and really antiquated ways of teaching students with technology. It was very user friendly. It was lots of support with just the platform being used. And then this resource that we had, that we currently have, does not have consumable books for students. So students oftentimes had a book and then had to write up their answers on different paper. There was no place to work things out. And so those were just some of the things that really stood out. But really speaking to that alignment and just the importance of understanding the standards and the progressions, that was the biggest piece. I want to tell you a little bit about our process. As Dr. Eccles has already pointed out, we did this over 7 months. We really worked hard at this. The teachers and the team put in so much time. They worked on breaks, they worked on vacations, and we just felt like it was really important to get this done within a certain amount of time for our students. So between November and December is when we began investigating the math resources online, requesting sample materials from vendors. I also attended some leadership sessions with Oakland Schools and other leaders in the county to really get a good understanding of how this process should look. Middle school teachers met with building and district leadership and really expressed their concerns around having to make a decision around a new resource. And we also took a look at our student achievement data and took a look at what was happening along all these years that we've been using this resource, and really want to dig deep into that. A select group of teachers from the middle schools, both ITA and PMS, decided that they wanted to be active members in the actual adoption team. And then we began to also, during this process, go through our own professional development to make sure that we understood what good resources should look like, making sure that we were paying attention to if there were gaps, were these gaps that could be filled, and just making sure we had an understanding of what we should be looking for as we analyze these resources. The team did some work on their own by really thinking about how they could ground themselves, and they created a mathematics vision so that there was a reference for as the why we went through this, they could always reference that vision. And then we used tools that were recommended by the county that worked out very well. We had 2 options, and we used tools 2 and 3, which really focused on alignment, formative assessment, and cultural relevancy. Between January and March, we continued to evaluate materials, and we met with vendors, and we started to narrow down, based on our learnings, really narrowed down to 2 to 3 resources that we thought were a good fit. Again, this is before the piloting process, but then we began professional development around the resources. And we had to do that because we wanted to make sure we were using these resources intentionally and making sure that we were using them properly as we were going through with students. And so we began to learn about what each resource really had, what type of PD it would take for teachers to understand in this pilot process, and what types of things we should look for. Again, we received support from the Oakland Schools consultants as well as the vendors. So we reached consensus about 3 of the resources. We took a look at Open Up Math, and it was eliminated as a possible final choice. There was, again, as we took a look at our rubrics and we came to consensus, we felt there were some areas where there was low consensus, especially in different grades. We saw the gaps in some grades and not in others. And so we decided that it was not cohesive and comprehensive enough to go forward with that resource. We then took a look at another one of our choices and looked at illustrative mathematics. And there are several versions of this resource. We looked at the LearnZillion version. It had a great technology platform, but again, there was some gaps very similar to what we saw in Open Up Math with the coherence and the progressions with standards. And then we followed this process again with the rubric as well as the consensus document with our third resource, Envision by Savas. And after we reviewed those materials, we wanted to know more. We met up with the vendors again, and after receiving some professional development and understanding all of the components that this resource offered, we decided to pilot the Envision resource. In doing that, over spring break, teachers worked very hard because they wanted to start the piloting process after spring break to create pacing guides during that time. And so once we returned from spring break, teachers did begin piloting the resource. Between April and June, the pilot process continued on. We continue to meet regularly with resource specialists. We met with teachers that use this resource so we could really get some great feedback on what it looks like in a classroom. We met with the specialists from the company to think about what our implementation may look like. And then we also tapped into our resources from other districts that were using Envision to talk to their staff. Myself, Dr. Eccles, and my coach supported the walkthroughs, taking a look at how teachers were adapting to the material. So we walked through, we shared feedback on what we saw, even during the pilot. During one of our professional development days, our ELL teachers and our special education teachers had a special session with Envision to help with them understanding what supports will be offered to those special groups. And then we also, as the students were using this every day in grades 6 through 8, we also wanted to collect some data from students. And so they were asked to complete a survey about how they felt around the use of all the different types of resources offered by this by Envision. And then we also shared resources with parents and got feedback from them via survey. From that point on, as teachers continue to use the resource, we continue to meet with each other, share the results of student assessments, and discuss the implementation plan for Envision. At the end of this process, it was a unanimous decision by the resource team and support that we would recommend that Envision Savas for grades 6 through 8 be the new resource adopted for middle school math. Some of the feedback that we received from students and parents included some of these statements that you see on your screen. Students that are sharing that they really liked having a student activity book. They really liked it because it gave them additional information and steps. They were able to see the steps. They really liked the diagrams and how clearly the math was explained. And they really felt like they would continue to use it because it gave them a lot more support. They talked about things like the videos, the virtual nerd videos that come with every lesson, the Math Excel resources that they could tap into. And so kids really did like specific components, and also the vocabulary part. As parents, especially our ELL parents that responded, really liked the language development section of the resource because it really helped, especially our Spanish speaking parents, with helping the students, because it helped with defining vocabulary before every lesson and defining it throughout. And so there was a revisit to the vocabulary session. 80% of the parents that took this survey were really impressed with the practice and problem solving piece, because it really gave students a chance, the way it's rolled out, to really think on their own, articulate their answers before teachers, and have some thinking of their own before teachers stepped in and gave them some support. And so parents really did like that part. We sent pages of the book home for parents to take a look at the resource, and that's some of the comments that they had. Next steps for, if this resource is approved and adopted, will be development of an implementation plan. This implementation plan will go over 3 years. We want to be thorough. We want to move slow to go fast in the end. And so it would be an implementation plan that works around professional development, feedback from teachers and staff around what's working, what's not working, where we might need to add in, where we might need to adjust our pacing guides, developing a framework, and then just an ongoing professional learning plan for teachers and instructional leaders, as well as myself. For this first year, we are recommending that the sessions that we would like to have are around teaching not only teachers how to implement the resource, but also helping our building administrators understand what this resource should look like in action. And so, and also offering coaching and professional development sessions around specific topics. And then finally, establishing a feedback system in which, as we work and implement this resource, and we're going to PD sessions and learning more, that we can receive feedback from parents, students, teachers, and building administrators to really just kind of make this resource fit for our students best. And that is the conclusion of my presentation. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Any questions from the board? Okay, seeing none, Superintendent, I'm going to turn it over back to you. There is a report, sex education update presentation.
Thank you. Based off of revised student code, we would like school code, I'm sorry. We would like to have our update presentation on our sex education. And at this time, I will turn it over to Dr. Eccles as well as Ms. Jackson.
Good evening again. Stacy Jackson also helps and lead our district sex education committee. And with these sex education updates presentation this evening, she will include our sex education curriculum, which is Making Proud Choices, the assessment data, the Michigan profiles for healthy youth survey results, our successes for the 21-22 school year, along with the next steps for our upcoming 22-23 school year. I'm Stacy Jackson. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good evening again. Tonight, I'd like to present to you our updates in regards to our sex education program, as well as some information from our MyFi data. And I'm going to start with actually the curriculum and how students did this year with sex education for grades 6 through 12, and also how they did on their assessments, their pre and post tests. So just a reminder that we take advantage of a grant called Taking Pride in Prevention program with support from Honor Community Health. And the name of our resource is Making Proud Choices. Our PSD sex education curriculum goal is to empower adolescents to change their behavior in ways that will reduce their risk of an unplanned pregnancy or becoming infected with HIV and other STDs. This year, we have a new instructor that supported students, Elizabeth Bahari, and then Ramona Farr continues to be our coordinator from Honors Community Health that supports with this programming. Just to take a look at the participation this year, we had 433 students that actually participated this year in grades 6 through 12. This chart here shows a breakdown of the frequency and the number of cohorts, and also the number of students that participated per building, for again, a total of 433 students that had exposure to the sex ed curriculum this year. Our assessments results there were a few key areas. There were several questions, but a few key areas that really really are related to the goal that I stated on the first slide. I'm going to talk about those results. And so the pre and post test for this resource is the same. So you'll see the location of the students where they were, what they received on the pre-test for that question, and then what they received on the post-test. In the question around high levels of understanding of the transmission of HIV and AIDS, you'll see the results that there were dramatic increases in all 3 buildings. And again, this is for grades 6 through 12, with PMS increasing from 19% during the pre-test to 88%. ITA went from 50% of the students having that level of understanding to 94% of the students having a high level of understanding around the transmission of HIV and AIDS. And then Pontiac High School went from 52% of their students understanding that the relationship between transmission of HIV and AIDS to 87%. And these results are very, they coincide with correlate with what happened last year with this resource. So again, students are really taking this resource. They love it. There was great feedback. And so it shows in the scores their engagement and their understanding from the instruction. The next section, high level of understanding of how to protect yourself from STDs and unexpected pregnancies. Again, you'll see the pre-test results as well as the post-test results. And there was dramatic increases in all 3 buildings. High level of understanding of characteristics of a healthy relationship. This one is hugely important, not only for our students that are taking in grades 6 through 12 who have exposure to this curriculum, but also for all of our students, just understanding what a healthy relationship looks like. And I'll speak more to this as we go through the MiFi data next. But again, you'll see dramatic increases in student understanding around what a healthy relationship really does look like in all 3 buildings. And so next, I'd like to talk about our MiFi data. MiFi stands for Michigan Profile for Healthy Youth. This is a survey that is given to students in grades 7, 9, and 11. And this is a survey that is completely anonymous and voluntary. Even throughout the test, students have a choice of which questions they choose to answer, and which questions they would not like to answer. So there are 9 sections in this survey given to our students, and they include questions around substance abuse, violence, physical activity, nutrition, emotional health, sexual behavior, family domain, community domain. But tonight I'm going to speak specifically to sexual behavior because this is just an update for sex education. And so, but those that we do have plenty of feedback and data around all of those areas of what our students may be feeling or be experiencing in all of those areas. This report is the purpose of this report is to report health risk behaviors and risk and protective factors. So it talks about everything from what students are actually doing to how they feel about peer pressure, what is being shared with them, and how that influences them. This year, 214 high school students completed the survey. We had not been able to give the survey the last couple of years because of COVID. So the results that I'm going to share with you are from 2 years ago in relation to this year's results. We use this information as a curriculum team to make data-driven decisions around how to prioritize our curricular focus. For instance, if we're looking at state or county data that may not necessarily attend to what students in Pontiac need. So this local data is extremely important in helping us to prioritize what health lessons we're going to talk about, what supports we may need to add in, because it gives very specific information about the students in this district. New this year on only the high school test, and the high school survey looks different from the middle school survey just because of the age and the maturity. This on the high school survey this year, there is questions around transgender identity demographics. And that is, of course, again, to give us information on what we may need to talk about, what we may need to address as far as curriculum, as far as supports. And so that question was just added this year. So the section again that I'm going to focus on is the sexual behavior and relationship violence. And I have some really encouraging numbers, some small gains and some large. As far as the percentage of students participating in sexual intercourse, that has decreased. That is down 6% from our previous MyFi data. Also, the percentage of students using protection during sexual intercourse has increased 16%. And I really think that a lot of that is just about the information that students are receiving from the sex ed department and our sex ed curriculum, and really making some really key decisions on what we're sharing with students and activities that we're doing with students. Percentage of students engaging in sexual intercourse with multiple partners has decreased 4%. By multiple means 3 or more partners. And so that has also gone down by 4%. And again, this is high school data, our 9th and 11th graders combined. The successes for our department overall, menstruation mission curriculum was adopted and implemented this year. We were able to, with the help of Honor Community Health, was able to create feminine hygiene cards that were installed in the middle and high schools for our young ladies. Our sex education assessment data continues to be positive and increase. And this year, PMS was selected to participate in the School Healthy Profile Survey, which is a survey that's given to the building administrator as well as the lead health teacher. And this is given to those folks that are in large urban areas to really support with professional development for teachers, what they want to learn about, what they need to learn about, what is the focus in some of the urban districts, and what is the priority. Next steps for the sex ed department is continue to prioritize our health content. We use Michigan Model for Health and really focus in on what this data says and where we should prioritize our lessons, what part of the year, how much time we should spend on it, and what our focus should be based on this feedback. Continue developing relationships with our health partners. Honor Community Health and McLaren this year have really supported staff and students by experts from the field coming in to talk to some of our students about these sensitive topics and giving them some up-to-date information about what's really true, getting rid of the facades of what misconceptions of what students may think and having those real conversations. And then also the health team is really thinking about how do we scaffold instruction for even our elementary students, so that when they do get to 6th grade, this is not the first time they're hearing about some of these things, and scaffolding it at a very appropriate level, some of these conversations about healthy behaviors and healthy relationships. Okay, at this time, that concludes my presentation for sex education updates.
All
Are
right.
there any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Any questions, comments from the board?
Yeah, just one.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Dr. Echols and Ms. Jackson. I am extremely elated with the information that was just given to us in this area because of what we've seen that's going on around this world, definitely in this country. But I can say my only disappointment is not every child is getting this, because those 400 and some odd students that you have been involved with is getting this. You can see the difference in the maturation from the beginning into where they are now, 16% to almost 90. That means they're listening and understanding and making better choices. -4, -6%, and even participating after being talked to. Now, I'm not trying to question, but I have to question. It's how our children or what our children are being taught outside of this school. How they're learning. Now, I'm not saying parents aren't teaching, but it's how they're learning, what they're learning outside of this. And if we didn't have this, where would we be? So again, if we could get, and I know it's an elective, correct, Sue? It's an elective. I know we can't make it mandatory, but at some point in time, that's maybe something that this board should consider because of what's going on around this country and how it affects our children, especially black and brown,
That's true. Very true.
that we should look at making this mandatory for every student that reaches that age that should take part in this.
Mhm.
Because what we're doing and how we're doing is working.
Correct.
It's helping. And why change that? And
Mhm.
that's my only comment. And I'm really elated with the numbers, but I wish every child would go through this. I had this in the 8th grade,
Mm.
Kennedy Middle School, junior high. When I was in the 8th grade, way back when the parents didn't even know, we didn't know what was going on. But the school talked to us and showed us,
Mhm.
and it helped then. And then when we went away from it, we began to see certain things happening, such as lifelong diseases and,
Mhm.
and people just freely being free to do. This is working, folks. And I appreciate you and the hard work and dedication you put toward this, because this is important.
It is.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Any other comments? Okay. To me, this strongly is a representation of when children don't have strong enrichment programs outside of schools or mentors that they feel that they can couple with or have conversations, even if there's not a parent at home to be able to help them navigate through some of the challenges that they have to face. I too want to look at making this mandatory, i.e. because even when we were in school, and I don't like using that because that was so long ago. It's going to be 30 years next year, but with the information that kids are available to, that they have available to them on their phone, we have to get in front of this. And as we can see through the numbers, when you were looking at the pre-test, which shows me a very indication of, I'm just naive to what's going on. And then after they take the course, those numbers increase. They're not 100%, but they increase so significantly that it tells them that aha moment happened. And so most of our curriculum has been around for a very, very, very long time.
Yes.
And I think that's in our strategic action plan. We'll look at actually what we want to be electives in that core. I know these things have to be negotiated, but if we do things in the right and proper manner, I'm sure that our adults who govern our students on a regular basis will have a clear understanding that this is a need.
And we'll check into it.
Specifically. Okay.
We'll
All right. I
definitely check
appreciate
into
that.
it.
All right. Thank you so much.
There's just for a point of clarification, this course is taught during their health classes, so their gym classes. So any student in grades 6 through 12 that has physical education will also have exposure to this class.
Thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
So to your point, I guess to your point, is it, if you have it in the 8th grade, you take it one more time in high school, or is it something that you can continually say, hey, it's just a one-time thing? Like once you take this particular elective, you no longer have to, or you understand, like, how does it work? Do they just?
So they actually have it anytime that they have a health class.
Okay.
It is part of the physical education teachers split their time between teaching phys ed and health. And
Okay.
so students who are in 8th grade that have it, if they go to 9th grade, they'll have this support again. It's just reiterating this information over and over again.
Good. Okay.
Of course, the questions may be different at different ages, so it's good to hear it over and over again just to solidify their understanding.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're going to move down to the regular working agenda, to finance items reports. Superintendent, the monthly finance report for April and May.
Thank you. At this time, I will defer to Mr. Graham.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, President Garrett, Superintendent Williams,
Good evening,
trustees
sir.
and community. I'm going to share the screen here. This is our monthly report for the months of April and May. Jump to the cash flow for the general fund. As of the end of May, we had about $6.5 million in cash, a very healthy cash position. And again, as I indicated to the board at last time, we are starting to borrow on our tax anticipation notes for June, and per what we adopted with the actually what's on the agenda tonight for the second budget amendment to tie in with that. Budget to actual general fund revenues. You can see the April and May revenues received just over $17 million. Total revenues to date, just under $76 million. You can see the categories. And this time of year, we're not receiving a lot of property taxes, so grants, federal grants primarily, are where the dollar coming this time of year. For expenditures, just under 25 million spent April and May. Just almost 83 million total expenditures. Again, you can see the categories. April and May are very heavy months of spending. They're primarily full months, except for the break at the beginning of April. The income statement for the general fund, you can see that year to date by categories compared to prior year to date, we're well ahead of schedule with our local taxes. Actually, well ahead of schedule with our state and federal grants also. And you can see the other financing sources a little bit higher, and that has to do with the timing of the draws. And then the fund modifications are about where we were at last year. Expenditures, 85% salaries. Actually, we're a little bit better than we were at this point last year. Same with benefits. And you can see the other categories are a little more fluid depending on what's being purchased. Purchase services, supplies. You can see the debt service is higher, and that is going to be reflected in the budget amendment that is up for action this evening. And that had to do with the increase in the amount of debt we're paying off. And primarily that had to do with the refinancing of the Huntington $10.5 million debt was refinanced at a lower amount. And we're required by the auditors to treat that as a increase in revenues as well as an increase in expenditures. While it does wash out, it does increase those categories in both revenue and expenditures. And so we're in very good shape through this point, through May. And again, we're going to be adopting hopefully the budget amendment, which, as I shared last time, increases our position even better for the 2021-22 fiscal year. Food service, did talk to the board about that. The revenues are a little bit lower, but part of that is it is a month behind. We are tracking that very closely and working with SFE, trying to improve that position through June 30th. And I will report that to the board as those numbers are finalized. Sinking fund cash flow, not a lot of activity. Again, we do have some projects coming up next year that are funded in the sinking fund. Big ones are the science rooms for the middle school and the high school, but about just over $5.2 million in cash in the sinking fund through the end of May. The bond 2020 Series 1, I would like to point out that it does show a negative dollar amount in interest. And part of that is because the dollars we have invested, because interest rates have increased, technically the present value of those are lower, but our intention is to hold all investments to maturity. So the end result will not be a negative number. It's merely a kind of a market present value calculation. We actually expect that number to grow substantially with the increase in interest rates. So that number will self-right itself as we get into next year. And you can see the spending as we have the bond update. Obviously, we're ramping up our project spending through all the categories. Other information, I did mention the TAN borrowing. The second budget amendment did reduce the TAN borrowing to $11 million. We actually sent the final draw this morning to the bank. And so we are exactly at $11 million in terms of revenue and borrowing for the TAN, which again does improve the financial position of the district because it was originally budgeted to borrow $14.5 million. So only borrowing $11 million reduces our dependency on those dollars going forward. So, and with that, glad to answer any questions you may have.
That was exciting news. $3 million is a lot of money. Any questions, comments from the board? Go ahead, Trustee Terry.
Good evening. First thing I had on page 41, just a little slight typo. I think those titles need to be switched on page 41.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. Thank you.
Okay, and then for pages 89 through 90, if you could just maybe give me a breakdown. This was in regards to the cards. I just want to make sure I got a clear understanding in regards to the monthly limits and then the actual spendings. And my concern is, do we need to go back and review any of these? Because some are near their limits and then others are like substantially over their limits.
I can speak to that. Anytime they are over their limits, they have to ask for an increase.
Okay.
And it goes through my office, and it's normally with grants where we are purchasing a high dollar amount of textbooks or resources. So they have to seek permission to go over. I provide that, and then that is just a one-time situation.
Okay, and that's just included in here, but
That it's
separate
always
in details.
included,
Okay.
always included in your monthlies.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
We will also be at the organizational meeting in July. We will present to you these dollar limits for next year, and we are actually reviewing those to make sure they're still appropriate. Because as the superintendent indicated, we do allow temporary increases, but the P card is a very effective program. It allows us to purchase items with we do have proper internal controls, so I'm comfortable with that. But it allows us to purchase items quickly and efficiently, as opposed to running everything through a purchase order. That does take more time. So we are going to be reviewing those limits, and we'll be bringing those to you at the organizational meeting next month.
And just for additional clarification, nothing exceeds that threshold of my approval. Anything over that will still come to the board for approval.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Okay. Trustee Terry, to your point, and thank you for actually bringing that as a great question. A lot of times, before the superintendent was here, there were POs that were given, bank accounts that were going over, at multiple bank accounts that were going over. And so when we put this process in place, it was actually for a time such as hoping to go into a bond project where we don't necessarily, we would get monies in and we wouldn't be bottlenecking administration as it relates to the approval. And so again, thank you for bringing that up, because a lot of the general public would not understand that when they would see the budget. But thank you for bringing that up and recognizing that. And thank you, Superintendent. Go ahead.
As well as to limit open POs. That was a
Yes.
huge issue that the state lifted, where we had so many open POs where people could just purchase things. Any open POs we bring to the board as well for approval.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you again, sir. We're going to move down to the bond presentation update. Superintendent still.
Thank you. I will defer to Mr. Graham.
Yes, I will pass it over to Juan Vasquez III. I will do the changing of the slides, Juan, if you want to give the update to the board. Let me pop it up right now.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Superintendent Williams, members of the board, President Garrett, and members of the community.
Good evening, Juan.
Good seeing everybody. So just starting with the bond update, real busy out there. Things are going great. Exciting what's happening. Starting with the middle school project bid pack 10, the kitchen demo has been in progress for a while. No updates on this for pictures when we submitted this, but the corridor ceilings, all that ceilings have been demoed. The flooring is in the process of being demolished, and good things are happening there. So it looks like a construction site. It's exciting. We go to the next slide. I have a few for WHRC. You've seen this one before. That's the north wing. Work is in progress at that building. That's the north wing that is currently the desks are in, and it was occupied. If we go to the next slide, there's some before and afters from the last bond presentation. So the left is the existing kitchen renovation. To the right is all the slabs that were removed, underground piping for all the new equipment. And that is scheduled, actually, the electrical's going in Friday. And they're pouring, electrical's Thursday, prepping on Friday, and the actual concrete slab on the right will be poured on Wednesday. So that is next week, concrete pour. There's more to show to this, but this is the existing gym where we We did the demolish. We did all the demolition. You can see the existing gym where we poured the concrete slab. To the right is where we are today. We have walls up. That's the new corridor that will lead to the multi-purpose room with the locker rooms and some other spaces for the gym teachers and staff. Next slide would be more WHRC. So that's the connecting corridor. That yellow is what we showed last time. That was the vapor barrier. We were about to pour concrete. The concrete is poured. You can see on the right, masonry walls are up. We'll have the curtain wall and the glass, the storefront starting very shortly, getting that enclosed. And if we continue, this actually looks even more different. So the picture on the left was the last bond presentation. That's off Chandler Street. That's the multi-purpose room. That was the steel that was installed in the last bond presentation. To the right, you can see the masonry walls. All the exterior masonry walls are complete. The steel is complete. The acoustical roof deck is on, waiting for us to do the roof. And actually, in the last week since the picture was developed, all the parapet steel, metal, cold form metal studs are up. And a lot of good things are happening. We're prepping the inside for concrete slab and getting that poured very shortly. And that's the inside of the multi-purpose room. You can see the sand. The stage is on the left side of the picture. It's hard to see, but there's a radius, short little knee wall. That's the stage for the multi-purpose room. You can see the cold form framing between the roof deck and the masonry wall. You can see the framing there. A lot more is up to date. So good things happening there. And just to point out, I know there was a question, if you go back to that slide, the reason why you can see through that roof deck is it's an acoustical roof deck. Brian Ingham is here with IDS. That roof deck is, it is a roof deck that has holes in it. And what goes in those slots, each of those is acoustical insulation. So the sound will basically go up through the roof deck and then it absorbs through the insulation. It's an Epic Core roof deck. We've done it on a lot of projects. It does really nice job for helping the acoustics and cutting down the echo in there.
I can't wait to speak in
Right.
Right. So then the Whitman doors and windows, that what you cannot really see right now, we have temporary wall partitions are up. The abatement contractor's been through and has demolished, I'd say 50% of the doors and windows are already removed. You'll see plywood up, that's temporary. We have the contractor on site finally putting doors in. I believe they finished the gym doors today. And we have windows starting next week, Wednesday, and that'll go very fast. It's exciting, well needed, overdue. So if you go there, you'll start seeing a lot of good things happening there as well as Whitman. And then we have the Bid Pack 13 Pontiac High School Infrastructure Project. That is the schedule. We shared multiple bond presentations. That is coming on the next slide. One thing I could tell you is we've been busy. Before we started the parking lot, they got to jump on infrastructure. A lot of conduit underground for the new transformers. So a lot of good things there on that part of the bid package. That is the schedule right there for that project. A big portion of it will kick off in January. The theaters are in progress, which we'll talk about. But a lot of it's exciting what's happening at the high school as well. And if we go to 14, this picture is just 1 week. So that's the timeline, which we do have the map in here as well. So the high school is the 20th to the 2nd of August. And then the connecting loop in the back is July 29th to August 19th. And then the middle school is August 12th to October 21st, which falls because that place is unoccupied with staff until after the new year. That is the north lot. I know Mr. Gross is excited about this. That's the north lot you can see. That is already gone. The asphalt's gone. That's the gravel. What is not in this picture up to date is, I believe tomorrow morning, they're going to finish with the underground storm pipe. So the underground storm pipe is on site. If you remember, we just recently awarded this project. So we got material very fast. So we'll get the utilities. We'll be done tomorrow with the underground storm. And then we'll start cutting out next week, I think about 8 inches gets cut out, 8 inches to a foot, and new gravel comes in, a new base, and then we'll start looking at paving it shortly after. Also on the right side, that drive is now gone. That picture's outdated just in 1 week. If you look at the main entrance, they've already cut all the grass out. They're working already by door number 8. So a lot of good things. They started tearing that pavement up, so we're moving fast, and we're on schedule there. And that's the sequence right there. So we talked about the schedule, and that's really logistics for the summer school and where they're parking in that green area.
Okay.
And then the high school science labs, which we recently just, the contracts are in progress, and we actually have contractors already starting. So that's moving as well. On the middle school, the high school is January. And then we have the theater upgrade. You can see before and after. Is that right? The left picture on the left is before. Right now, all the seats are gone. We're laying out the concrete slab to start saw cutting for the new ADA ramp. So the ADA flat area for the ADA chairs, and the also the lighting that is going to be for the aisle lighting of the chairs. And you can see the stage is already demolished as well. The top of it. And that's concessions. So the left side is what we gave an update last time. The foundations were complete a month ago. The structure is built, and actually the picture's outdated again in the last 4 or 5 days. The roof trusses are up. We got a couple meetings just to review a few things, but we'll be getting that sheeted and waterproof really quick with shingles, and get the inside painted out, put the finishes together shortly. And the gym floor, that's in progress as well. A lot of material, a lot of that's logistics right now. If you recall, we did award that recently. The bleacher submittals have been approved with IDS, so they've been a great partner in making sure things are getting approved in time, as well as the wood floor. So all of that's on order. We got some electrical that's going to be starting very shortly in there as well for the bleachers, but that's all in progress. And one other thing I didn't have on here, which is tonight, is bid pack 27, the second part of the waterproofing, which is on the last slide in parentheses. So that is the second piece. It's another bid package that's out that is going to add metal panels to the project, waterproof the foundation of that whole gym, and a few other items to make sure that place is watertight. The relief hoods that leak on the roof, and some louvers that are outdated. So that is on the agenda for later in this board meeting. We do have a contingency update that we review with the team and Mr. Garrett as well every Thursday, keeping track of where we are with contingency and change orders. And then we have our construction schedule, which is just a summary of everything we review. So, and supply chain. I don't have a lot of more hair to lose. I just throw it on my face, but it's not getting any easier, everybody. I mean, you see just even baby formula is a problem. Right now, it's electrical is a real problem. And we've identified that. I think even a year ago, we identified it in these meetings. 8 months ago, a year, it's not getting any better. Generators are 54 weeks. Switchgear is very long lead. We've been very creative on how we are approaching this and how we win. We have a plan to win. Sometimes we get information that makes it a little more difficult, but we have the right players on board with the team and the ALC team that we continue to make sure we're proactive and things we can control to make sure we're successful. I think that's it for the presentation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, sir. Any questions from the board?
Just one comment. Thank you. Thank you, Juan. Appreciate that update. And Madam Superintendent, I want to thank you and your team for your regular updates on this, because sometimes we only have fun with the finished product. We have a good time. We can go to the field and enjoy the concessions and enjoy the finished project. But a lot of people don't understand the details and the difficulty it is to get to that finished project. And with Juan and his team and everyone telling us what's been going on a regular basis, because we see it. We're excited because we see it step by step by step by step, and we see the changes and the improvements that are actually, going on and going in place. And I appreciate that, Juan, for what you've shown us, because sometimes I'll go out and take a look and see where we are. And it's great to see. And I ride past WHRC, because my mom's home is there, and I go see my sisters over there all the time. And I start seeing all the materials starting to leave the parking lot over there off of Pike. in that back area, and it shows me that there's progress. And I'm happy just to see that. But we're the board, and the community will be able to see everything that we're doing if they view into these meetings, that it takes quite a bit of time and effort to get to the finished product that they're going to ultimately enjoy. But as I stated to President Garrett earlier, I want to thank the community, the city of Pontiac, not just our school, but the entire city of Pontiac, because without their belief in us in passing this bond, we wouldn't see none of this. And I appreciate the city of Pontiac for this, as well as our school district. And I thank them for their patience. I do. And again, thank you, Juan. Great job. Love that parking lot, brother.
It's coming. It's coming. So thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay. Of course, I'm very excited about the bond project. And again, as Trustee Gross has stated, it is a lot of work that goes behind the scenes. A lot of bad news that we have to stomach sometimes. A lot of information that is pulling simultaneously as we're trying to educate our children. Trustees, we also added into, as far as the contingency line item where you see, and this was a Juan idea, where you see where we started with the contingency and where we're at. And again, as we continue to flow through the projects, we don't want, we at least know what possibly savings we can get from the contingencies once the projects are done. And so thank you for your patience. Thank you for the questions that you do give on a regular basis on behalf of the people who elected you to be here. Our city, again, and again, as this bond is continued, as Juan has stated, we have a plan, and we plan to win. That's the mentality. That's the goal. And we will accomplish that goal together. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We're going to move down to General Counsel and Human. Oh, I'm sorry. No, we're not. We got to prove some things. We're going to have to prove some things right now. Action item number 2A, approval of the 2021-22 budget amendment. Need a motion?
So moved.
So moved by
Support.
Trustee Bowman, supported by Trustee Davis Smith. Questions, comments, or concerns to the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Hannah?
Yes.
Trustee Terry?
Yes.
Trustee Turpin?
Yes.
Vice President Bowman?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis Smith?
Yes.
And President Garrett?
Yes.
Sir, that passed 7-0.
Okay. Thank you. And the most important motion that I'm going to give this evening, need a motion on the floor for the approval proposed 2022-2023 budget.
So moved.
So moved by
Support.
Trustee Davis Smith, supported by Trustee Bowman. Questions, comments, or concerns? Roll call, please.
Trustee Hannah?
Yes.
Trustee Terry?
Yes.
Trustee Turpin?
Yes.
Vice President Bowman?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis Smith?
Yes.
President Garrett?
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Pass, sir, 7-0.
Oh, thank you so much. This has
Excellent
been
job.
a long process. If you clearly understand budgeting, this is a $100 million corporation at the end of the day. And so to make sure that the dollars are going towards what we say is important, the current strategic action plan reflect that. We're going to continue to move forward where we're at as far as our student achievement. That information is going to be coming out. And I just want to thank this board again. Thank you, administration staff, for making sure that the vision and goal is matching up with the money. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. We're going to move down to Ms. Callum, General Human Resources. We're going to move down to 2021-22 end of the year PEA evaluation report.
Thank you. At this time, Ms. Kellum will present our PEA evaluation. You heard from her as it relates to PASA. I want to be very clear and go on record. I do not do any evaluations for administrators or teachers. I do it for my cabinet as well as the part-time AD at that time, which no longer exists. So I want to go on record to say I do not do evaluations for PASA as well as PEA. And Ms. Kellum will go through the process and give us additional information as it relates to our ratings.
Good evening, Superintendent Williams, President Garrett, trustees, members of the community, members in the audience, visitors in the audience, and staff and visitors online. I'm presenting to you the end of the year PEA evaluation report. This is a report only, and you will see for the PEA evaluations for the 2021-22 school year, this is the final summative evaluation ratings for teachers, counselors, physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech language pathologists, school social workers. All these individuals fall up under the PEA union. This is the end of the year, April through June 2022. Evaluators Summary, the level of performance. There were 201 evaluated. Total on leave or no, and with them being on a leave, they did not receive an evaluation, is 6. HEE equals highly effective exempt. HE equals highly effective. EFF equals effective. INEFF is ineffective. ME is minimally effective, and LOA is a leave of absence. So you had highly effective exempt. There were 31 PEA members based on current status as highly effective for 3 consecutive years, the 1920 to 20, 20 to 21, 21 to 22. No evaluation for the, should say 21, 22 in the year, school year. So there's no evaluation required on those individuals because they received highly effective for 3 consecutive years. Beginning with the next school year, they will start their evaluation process over and must get another 3 years of highly effective in order to be exempt for the following years. So we had 84 highly effective, 74 effective. We had 6 minimally effective, and those individuals will be placed on an IDP for the 22-23 school year. And we had 0 ineffective. The next slide will show the PEA end of the year timeline. So this is the timeline of how individuals are evaluated through the end of the year. April and May, the second formal observation for tenured PEA members is due by May 9th, 2022. The third formal observation for probationary PEA members due by May 16th, 2022. For May and June, establish plans for the next school year. Appointments held with human resources for those with individual development plans, IDPs. And in June, the end of June and through the end of the school year, final conference for all PEA members by June 1, 2022. Finalized evaluation form submitted to the Human Resources Office by June 10th, 2022. And so at the bottom, you'll see evaluation timeline from April through June. But I also showed you the last 2 years. So you will see 2020 through 21 and 21 through 2022. So you'll see for 2020, 2021, you had 94 highly effective. 21, 22, you had 84 highly effective. 2020, 21, you had 106 effective. In 21, 22, you had 74 effective. 2021, you had 5 minimally effective. In 21, 22, you had 6 minimally effective. No ineffectives for the 2020, 21, and the 21, 22 school year. 2020 and 2021, you had 1 leave of absence. In 21, 22, you had 6 leave of absences. Those individuals are not evaluated until they return back from their leave of absence.
If I may add one additional point to Mrs. Kellum's report, I do want to commend the administration as well as the HR department in regards to ensuring that we keep our timeline based off of the state requirements, reporting them out to the Michigan Department of Ed as it relates to our partnership schools, and doing their due diligence to ensure that individuals that are not performing at the high level within the evaluation, which is outside of just data, but a thorough evaluation process, are going through the process to either get the professional development and help, or will have to go to the next level, which is removal from the position. So the IDPs are a strategic process to improve the individual, but if the individual does not show that improvement, that is the due process of the release of the employee. So I do thank HR as well as Dr. Eccles and the administration for ensuring that we meet our timeline and to ensure that all individuals are evaluated.
Thank you. Any other concerns from the trustees or questions or comments? Okay. I'm encouraged. I am really encouraged. I thought that I knew the pandemic had effect on our staff. I know they had to change up some of their teaching models and how they would interact with students online. But seeing what I've seen working in the district, on the board, and going through that whole pandemic in Pontiac, like I'm very, I'm ecstatic and encouraged about our staff and our teachers. Like it just proves that the things that we say about them and the things that they prove to be and who they are shows up in the numbers. We can have any opinion we want to have, but when the numbers show up, that's what matters to me. So I appreciate it. Thank you, teachers. We're going to move down to the year-end retirement list. Superintendent.
Thank you. We are very excited to recognize our retirees. A lot of them have served many years in the district, and it is an honor to salute them, celebrate them during this time. We have the list for the community as well as for our trustees. I'll turn it over to Ms. Kellum and she will go through the list, but we will have these individuals to come to the first meeting in August to present them with our token of appreciation, invite them and their families. And we just want to say thank you for serving the community as well as the Pontiac School District. We can't thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And I'll turn it over to Mrs. Kellum at this time.
Thank you, Superintendent. So this is a report only for the end of the year retirement report. So for the 21-22 end of the year retirement report, you'll see from July 1, 2021, which was last school year, the end of last school year, through June 30th, which is this Friday, I believe, 2022. You have 25 retirees. Some of these retirees have already retired. They retired last year in July, but we do a report from July 1 through June 30th of each year. So you have 25 individuals that are retired, ranging from years of service, 2 years to 44 years of service. Superintendent, would you like me to read the names or no?
It's the pleasure of the board. Would you all like to have the names read? We're going to recognize them with a token of appreciation at the first August meeting, but
I just, for the public record, because I want these folks to hear these years.
yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's all. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sure. So Luann Van Essering, I believe I'm not saying her name wrong, but she has 33 years of service. Deborah Adams, 5 years of service. Adrienne Tomlinson, 26 years. Deborah Bodrick retired 7/1 last year. She had 13 years of service. Jillian Cisco retired 19 years. Jean Staber Anderson, 2 years of service. She came from another school district and finished out her last 2 years of Pontiac. Karen Oliverio, 4 years of service. David Coleman, 2 years. Ernest Matthews, 18 years. Melanie Kolar, 7 years. Brenda Causey Mitchell, retired last year, 11 years. Eileen Steinborn, 21 years. Jocelyn Colon Cardeas, 29 years. Patricia Hyundai, 44 years. Susan Schweitzer, 21 years. William Ross, 9 years. Lorian Bell, 7 years. Carlene Lance, 11 years. Cheryl Morway, 38 years. Margaret Edwards, 37 years. Patricia Morris, 43 years. Martha Moyet, 44 years. Clarissa Payne, 34 years. Deborah Cox, 23 years. And Kelly Bowen, 25 years.
Any other comments, questions from the board?
Well, I'm not retired.
Go ahead. Oh, here we go.
All right.
With over 25 some odd years of service. So I'll be in there with what part of it.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Okay. I wanted the years read because that means something. And that means to me, when I see somebody say, I'm 47, but you gave 44 years to what you love, that goes way beyond send a paycheck. When you say I'm leaving from another district and I'm gonna come here with my last 2 years to retire for that experience, that doesn't say that I just wanted to leave here. That means I wanted to be a part of this system. When you put 30 something years into it, when you could have left with 25 years and good pensions and retirement, then you stuck and stayed. So I appreciate everybody who retired and gave their life, who sacrificed from their families for this particular opportunity. And again, when we honor you because we are here because of you. And again, I'm only 47 years old, so that just speaks volumes to me. I mean, personally. And I will hope that when I'm able to retire, I can say I've had some 44 years or 45 years doing something that I love to do. So I appreciate that. We're going to move down to the discussion item, principal position. Mrs. Kellum, sorry, or superintendent.
Thank
Either
you.
one.
We are excited to bring forth a candidate for the Pontiac principal position. I am honored to have been allowed to see this individual grow over the years, and for many years, never wanted to pursue a head principal position. And one thing that resonated with one of the comments that the committee shared is that when he spoke about not being ready and not wanting to move into that position, he wanted to get the learning behind it, to have the skill set across all levels. And so I commend this individual for that. I'm proud of him. He's gone through a lot in this district, and to be able to be recognized at this time to move into this role, I am very confident that he will do a phenomenal job. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Ms. Kellum.
Thank you, Superintendent. So this is a discussion and action item, Pontiac High School Principal Candidate Lee Montgomery. The background rationale reads, the proposed 22-23 contract will secure Lee Montgomery's contract for the upcoming 22-23 school year. The base salary for the 22-23 fiscal year, July 1, 2022 through June 30, 2023, shall be at the annual rate of $113,831.04 plus 4.06% increase, with a salary total amount of $118,452.58. Regarding the base salary for the 22-23 school fiscal year, July 1, 2022 through June 30, 2023, if the operating tax levy for a given fiscal year increases less than 3% from the previous fiscal year tax levy, there will be no salary schedule increase. If the operating tax levy for a given fiscal year increases greater than 3% from the previous fiscal year tax levy, the salary schedule shall increase, the salary schedule increase shall equal 50% of the percentage increase above 3%. For example, if the tax levy increases 6%, then the wage scale shall increase 1.5%, which is 6% minus 3% times 50%. The salary schedule increase shall not exceed 5% in any given year. Extended circumstances. If the district's operating tax levy decreases more than 10% in any given fiscal year from the previous fiscal year, only after good faith negotiations with PASA union regarding the impact of the reduction in funds and how this could impact wage scale and steps, the district's Board of Education may void and or nullify Article 10 of the PASA CBA. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education approve the contract of Lee Montgomery as principal of Pontiac High School from July 1, 2022 through June 30, 2023. The base salary for July 1, 22 through June 30, 23 will be $113,831 plus 4.06%, with a total salary amount of $118,452.58. Mr. Montgomery's resume and his certification is attached, and he is virtual tonight and not in person because he's away at a conference for administrators.
Thank you. Any questions for the board? Mr. Terry.
All right, once again, good evening. were there any other candidates considered for this position?
Yes, we have another internal candidate.
And then in addition to that, I noticed the reference page did in regards to the references, but looking through his resume, was there any referrals provided as well? Given that he does have some kind of history with the school district?
He's an internal candidate, so we don't ask for references on an internal candidate.
Okay. And then I'm assuming based on that information, okay, this wasn't posted. So, okay, for internal positions.
It was posted for internal, but Mr. Montgomery's been with the district for, I believe almost 10 years.
Okay. And then I also noticed he's largely involved with sports. So my question becomes, is that something he's willing to, I guess, let go to dedicate his?
Yes, he's going to be letting go of those duties, and we'll be posting that position as soon as I get an opportunity to meet with the union.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions? He's going to absolutely let go of that.
Sorry.
Athletic director. I say no, he's going to absolutely let go of that athletic director position. And we actually passed in a budget amendment, voted to now they can post for a full-time athletic director and secretary.
Yes.
Which would both be in the union, I believe, correct?
Yes,
Those
they will
full-time-
be. I just have to have a conversation with both unions because these are increasing from half-time positions to full-time FTEs, just to notify them that the positions will be embedded into their units now.
Yeah. Okay. So,
And if I may add, this is will be a pay cut for him moving into this role. And I just want to thank all of the individuals that have come in to the district and taken pay cuts or have gone into these positions and taken pay cuts, because what we want to do is to ensure that the steps are correct, as well as we are being as fair as possible to those who have been around longer than others. But at the appropriate steps, though, that is what we're recommending.
okay. Any other comments from the board? For me personally, I worked in this school district, so my energy and level of commitment to not only this board and this position sits in 22 years. And so when I make decisions or I am asked to make a decision, it's not based upon if I know you, I've been in this city 25 years, I'm going to know people. But I will fire my friend and have coffee with them if I ever thought they did something or could be involved in anything that's not going to just embarrass them, but embarrass me in a decision that I make on behalf of the students of this district. I don't play politics when it comes down to hiring people. I've been here 22 years. I went into a principal. I look for charges. I go out and I use my job thoroughly to protect my children at all costs. Some may not understand the passion in which I do it, but you don't have my conviction. If we don't get it right here, I see them on the opposite end. So when you say school, prison, the pipeline, I take that very serious. Because when we don't do it right and we haven't done it right, and then we finally have the opportunity to do so, that's the less kids I get to see put in handcuffs or behind in my police car. This is very real for me. Everything about this is very real and tangible for me. And so when you go look at somebody's record, or you go looking at rumors, or you go looking at things that people have said, I want you to come spend some time in the school district. And I want you to go look in the kids' faces that you got to see. And see, do they have the confidence of a Lee Montgomery in them now? I work over at the high school. No, I don't get paid for the district. As a police officer, it's my job, my obligation to go over there and walk and see, not just as the president of this board, but I know when he was over there day in and day out, I know the struggles that he'd been through. Clearly, that most men and women sitting at this table would never, ever go through or ever could even make it out of. I appreciate him just even considering and wanting to stay. I prayed to God today that I would be able to have the words that come out of my mouth, because sometimes my mouth go wild on purpose, because I love people who love kids, Black kids and brown kids that's losing their lives every single day. So you clearly know where I'm voting on this. But let the record reflect, every single time I'm betting on Pontiac. I'm not looking outside of Pontiac. I'm staying in Pontiac first. I'm going to look and see the candidates here first, and then I'm going to go looking. That's just my own individual thing. You vote your conscience the way you need to. But clearly understand, I don't play no games with this. And when I told y'all when I first came back, I want all the smoke, every last drop, every ounce. Because education in the Black community, we've been robbed because of the ignorance of other Black people. We're going to stop blaming white folks and white people, this and that coming in here. But I'm going to leave that for my closing comments. But I support Lee Montgomery. I support him because he loves kids. And he proves it every single day. And I got the documentation, and I got the points, I got the percentages, and I got the data that can prove that. So you bring what you bring, and I'm going to bring what I bring. We're going to move down to Ela Supervisor's position. Superintendent.
Thank you. Another excellent candidate that we are excited to bring forth, who has done the work in the district, has been with us for 5 years, has been in the education sector for 19 years, and is from the Pontiac community, as well as a graduate from the Pontiac School District. So it is always an honor where we can grow our seeds within the community. We welcome these opportunities. It makes us proud in saying that we are employing individuals from the community with the qualifications. I do want to be very transparent. The candidate is going to be enrolled in a program for the administrative certification that is required, and we are asking for a waiver from the state. So this is pending the enrollment as well as the waiver, but we are confident with the work that she has done and the needle that she has moved alongside with Dr. Bell, that this is the best candidate. And as the interviewing process went through, this is the individual that came out shining. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Kellum.
Superintendent, before I start, I wanted to share with the board, the superintendent has given me the charge as well as the interview team to start to grow our own, not just in support staff, within teaching staff, administrative staff. And so that's why we're continuing to do try to post internally and find internal candidates first before we go to looking for external candidates, because we have a lot of talent here. So this is the discussion and action item, Literacy Social Studies Supervisor Candidate Felicia Jeter. The proposed 22-23 contract will secure Felicia Jeter's contract for the upcoming 22-23 school year, shall be at the annual rate of $80,295 plus 4.06%, equals $83,554.98. Regarding the base salary for the 22-23 school fiscal year, July 1, 22 through June 30, 23, if the operating tax levy for a given fiscal year increases less than 3% from the previous fiscal year tax levy, there will be no salary schedule increase. If the operating tax levy for a given fiscal year increases greater than 3% from the previous fiscal year tax levy, the salary schedule increase shall equal 50% of the percentage increase above 3%. For example, if the tax levy increases 6%, then the wage scale shall increase 1.5%, which is 6% minus 3% times 50%. The salary schedule increase shall not exceed 55% in any given year. Extended circumstances, if the district's operating tax levy decreases by more than 10% in any given fiscal year from the previous fiscal year, only after good faith negotiations with PASA regarding the impact of the reduction in funds and how this could impact wage scale and steps, the district's Board of Education may void and or nullify Article 10 of the PASA CBA. The recommendation is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education approve the contract of Felicia Jeter as ELA Social Studies Supervisor from July 1, 2022 through June 30, 2023. The base salary for July 1, 2022 through June 30, 2023 will be $80,295 plus 4.06%, which equals $83,554.98. Her resume is attached and Ms. Jeter is in the audience.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the board? Trustee Terry, what you?
Evening again.
What's wrong,
How many
man?
candidates applied for this one?
We had 5 candidates apply for this position.
And then you mentioned earlier about some training or some certification.
Yes, administrative certification, and she's enrolling in a program.
Okay. So will all of that be completed, I'm assuming, before the school year, or is that contingent?
Can you speak on the timeline
Yes.
for it?
So the timeline will be, per her offer letter, she will have a contingent offer letter. There's several things that she will have to satisfy before she will be able to start working. She will have to enroll in the program by September 1, and show proof of enrollment. Then she will be providing us with her transcripts from her previous school. Then she will be showing us enrollment and her grades at the end of each semester. So she has up to 22 months to finish the program. We will apply for the permit for her after September 1. The state will approve that permit, and then she will start working in that capacity. She will not be working in that capacity until we apply for the permit and the permit is approved by the state of Michigan.
Okay. And I'm assuming then, whatever the cases were, I'm assuming that was one of the requirements during the interview, or no?
Yes, it was a requirement, but we have that flexibility because the state knows that the pool is very low in teaching and administrative roles. So that's why the waivers are now being afforded opportunities for districts.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Go ahead, sir.
Madam Superintendent, you made an excellent point when you stated that we should be in the position in the school district to advance our own.
Yes.
And it reflects on the district on how well we're doing and what we're doing.
Mhm.
And I love seeing that although it's been offered, within first, and we found a candidate, it says a lot about what we're trying to do here. And that should be a message sent to everyone in this district
Mhm.
that the Pontiac School District is giving you the opportunity to show through your time, dedication, experience, maturity, everything you do within this district to advance to a level that you may want to be sometime in life, whether it
That's
takes
right.
a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. A lot of organizations don't offer that, especially those of the brown and black
Mhm.
community. And to see that we're making that decision, that we're supporting our own to advance, says a lot about this district. I pray that when you leave, when Ms. Kellum is gone, that and this board is no longer here,
Mhm.
that we continue to do this process,
Mhm.
because then Pontiac will become the best. And we're becoming the best.
Great statement, and very important to be able to pour back into the community with individuals, one from the community as individuals who have vested in the district thus far. So you're absolutely correct.
Okay.
And that was my journey.
We wish you could.
Any other comments from the board? Okay. Trustee Terry, thank you for always. You're not the only one with questions. And never, we have to ask. That's why you're here.
Mhm.
And I appreciate when you ask the question, because some of the stuff in my young old ways, I have to look back and go, oh, okay. I remember that process. I know how that went. I know one of the reasons when we decided to start growing our own, and we had Davenport here and we started going down that pathway, my confidence is in the trustees. My confidence is in a board that says, okay, we know what we can do now. I've sat on a board where we did nothing. And we did not ask questions. And when we did ask questions, we had backdoor deals. And people like the people that's in front of us today never would have gotten a chance because they already knew who they wanted to hire, knew the gamut. So I like it when people see the fact that we're not just up here just saying, okay, well, we're just going with the flow. No, I didn't contact anybody else about hiring and things of that nature, who we thought should be best. But the one person that weighed in my decision on this was Ms. Bell.
Mhm.
The one person, because Pontiac teachers as a whole, history. I mean, you go back to the Sykeses, you go back to, the teachers, right? They always had somebody in the cut. They always had somebody they was bringing up. They always had someone that they were watching, mentoring, grooming them. Even without the whole programs and, put whatever fancy names you want to put on it, that they had a succession plan because they knew they wanted to retire. And it was like, I know this person can take this person does the work. And when I heard that in the board retreat, I said, wow, that means a lot. And it means a lot to me coming from a Miss Bell who knows, who gets it, because it's her work she's carrying over. So thank you. And always continue to be the trustee that you are. And I want to thank Ms. Bell for that, her years of service and what she's done. This is hard work. This is hard work. But I just wanted to put that out there so we're very clear about growing our own. And it's okay because we have intelligent people here. And I'm just tired of people trying to beat us up because we're doing things that's different and we're giving opportunities for what Pontiac said that we wanted. I look at some beautiful Pontiac people around this table every single day. I get to share in this every single day. So that's just my 2 cents, 3 cents, or maybe 4 cents. Okay. We're going to move down to the IEP Facilitator Monitor presentation.
Okay, and I'll speak to both of those. We had an audit with Dr. Jameson in the special ed department. And during that audit, it was a recommendation that these 2 positions be put in place to help monitor the IEP. Although we did do a great job, it is a toll on the individuals that is in that department. And so it is the recommendation to bring forth these 2 job descriptions as IEP Facilitator Monitor for Kennedy, as well as IEP Facilitator Monitor for K through 12. And that is just to help the district to do our due diligence in making sure we are meeting the IEP requirements and someone keeping a pulse on what is required by state law. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Keller.
Thank you. So this is a job description for Special Education IEP Facilitator Monitor. This will be a part-time position. The position for Kennedy Special Education IEP Facilitator Monitor shall be a newly created part-time, non-union position. The responsibilities of this position will be outlined by the Office of Human Resources in collaboration with the Special Services and Student Equity Department. The position will report to the Special Services and Student Equity Director. The position will provide leadership in the compliance of federally and state mandated special education procedures for students with disabilities for Kennedy administrator and staff. This includes organizing, facilitating, and regularly monitoring IEP team meetings, documentation, servicing staff on compliance and legal issues involved in the IEP team process, regularly reviewing staff-generated documents, IEPs, and assessments, assisting with case management and investigation of cases per Catamaran corrective action plans, etc. As appropriate to ensure compliance, as well as coordinating the provision of extended school year services, ESY, compensatory services, etc. The position will be funded over 100% through the IDEA grant at $40 per hour. It is the recommendation of Administrator Administration of the Board of Education approve the Special Education IEP Facilitator Monitor for K-12 and Kennedy position for 2022-2023 school year. So it's a position for Kennedy School and a K-12 position, which will be a district position, but it's a part-time position in non-union.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions well, we actually combined kind of IEP we actually combined C and D in discussion. So any questions to either position? Okay, go ahead, sir.
2 separate positions or one person can do both?
It's 2 separate positions. We have one just going to be dedicated just to Kennedy and one dedicated for the K-12. It's just too much work for one person
Yeah,
to do.
I know what is needed, and we need that. Yeah, let's bring on 2. I just want to make sure as we discuss it, just combine it. We need 2 people in that position.
Yes,
We do.
yes.
Thank you.
2 part-time positions.
I'm just saying, I know you've been around a long time. I was like, God, leave, right? Don't pull out the drag taskmaster. Are they gonna do both? No, we good. Okay. All right. Saying that there is no other questions, we're gonna move down to action items. Thank you for the report.
Thank you.
Ma'am. We're gonna move down to action items. Approval of the Pontiac High School principal position. Questions, comments, or concerns? I need a motion, please.
So move. Support.
So moved by Bowman, supported by Trustee David Smith. Questions, comments, or concerns to the motion? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Terry.
Yes.
Trustee Turpin.
No.
Vice President Bowman.
Yes.
Treasurer David Smith.
Yes.
President Garrett.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Hannah.
Yes.
Sir, pass 6-1.
All right. Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Lee Montgomery. Superintendent, is there anything, Mr. Montgomery, you would like to say? I know they got that bad Wi-Fi over on that west side.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, great. First of all, I'd like to just say thank you. I'm very excited about the plan and the vision that I have in place for Pontiac, for Phoenix Nation. We're going to move in the right direction. And, we're going to focus on rebranding Pontiac High School. Everyone that comes into Pontiac High School that's affiliated with Pontiac High School, they will be driven. And that's my focus. We got to focus on rebranding Pontiac High School. We want to also change the mindsets of all. That means teachers, custodians, administrators, everybody that comes in affiliated with Pontiac High School. We got to change the mindset and how they think about us. And then also, it's our job. We're going to be driving instruction. We're going to be focused on attendance, creating a climate and culture that's conducive to learning. Also, our graduation rate, we will see that improve. And then lastly, we're going to also always focus on our school safety. So again, I'd like to just say thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to doing this work.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Excellent. We're going to move down to approval of the Ela Supervisor position. Need a motion, please.
So move.
Support.
So moved by Trustee Gross, supported by Trustee Hannah. Questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Turpin.
Yes.
Vice President Bowman.
Yes.
Treasurer David Smith.
Yes.
President Garrett.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Terry.
Yes.
Sir, pass 7-0.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, board. And I think Ms. Jeter here, you have anything you want to say, ma'am?
I just want to thank Superintendent Williams and Dr. Eccles and Dr. Bell for their faith in me. And I'm just so pleased and happy just to be able to serve my community in a different capacity.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. We're going to move down to C, an action items approval of the IEP Facilitator and Monitor for Kennedy. Questions, comments, or concerns? Need a motion.
So move.
Support.
Moved by Trustee Hannah, supported by Trustee Bowman. I'm sorry I keep saying that. I'll leave that alone. Roll call, sir.
Vice President Bowman.
Yes.
Treasurer David Smith.
Yes.
President Garrett.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Terry.
Yes.
And Trustee Turpin.
Yes.
Sir, pass 7-0.
All right, thank you. Move down to approval of IEP Facilitator and Monitor for K through 12. Need a motion on the floor?
So move.
So moved by Trustee Smith,
Support.
supported by Trustee Hannah. Questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, roll call.
Treasurer David Smith,
Yes.
President Garrett.
Yes.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Hannah,
Yes.
Trustee Terry,
Yes.
Trustee Turpin,
Yes.
and VP Bowman.
Yes.
Sir, pass 7-0.
All right, thank you. We're gonna move down to curriculum instruction. Let's talk about some textbooks, 2022-23 textbook orders and contract renewals. Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you. I want to commend Dr. Eccles and her team, Diane, for getting this in place before August board meeting. It is critical that we get our textbooks ordered so that they are in the hands of staff the first day of school. Unfortunately, last year and the year before during the pandemic, we were not able to do this because of back orders and the prevention due to COVID. So we want to start this year off in the upcoming school year correctly with textbooks in the hands of staff as well as our students. So thank you for putting this together. It is a tall order for them to do this because they're looking at pricing, asking the vendors to give them rates that will support professional development when needed for staff to come in, as well as giving us the best price if we have been with the individual vendor for more than 2 years. So I just want to thank them for getting this to the board in a timely fashion. Then I'll turn it over to Dr. Eccles.
Thank you, Superintendent. This evening, our Curriculum and Instruction Department is presenting for both discussion and action the attached summary of textbooks, materials, subscriptions, and training that will support our department in the upcoming, continuing with our current curriculum and our interventions, implementing new curriculum adoptions and resources, and interventions. The funding for the supplies, materials, and subscriptions, both grant funds and general funds, will be used. In your attachment this evening, you have our documents that provide a detailed description of each item along with the funding source that is provided as well. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Education approve the attached materials, subscriptions, and training for the amount not to exceed $1,121,597.94. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions, comments, or concerns to that? Go ahead, Trustee Terry.
Good evening. Does this also, or do you have a breakdown as far as quantities of books and materials?
Yes, we do have a breakdown for the quantities. What we looked at is our current enrollment for the upcoming school year to see also what we did as an inventory to see what we had on hand, and then per grade level, ask for a quote and invoice regarding those materials as well. So yes, we do have that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? $1.1 million in paper book product.
Couldn't do it before.
And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. We couldn't do it. We could not afford to do it. We could even fathom the thought to think about doing it, but we could do it now. And so I'm just grateful to even say that number, to be in this position to even vote on this. So thank you for the work. Thank you for getting it to us ahead of time so we can beat, because it is a need. But I appreciate that. $1.1 million. There's your textbooks, Pontiac. $1.1 million. $1.1 million in textbooks. $1.1 million. Okay. Move down to action items. Approval of the 2022, I keep rushing the year. 2022-2023 textbook orders and contract renewals. So moved by Trustee Gross.
Support.
Supported by Trustee Bowman. Questions, comments, or concerns?
I do have one
Go ahead, sir.
comment. I motion to approve because I was here when we couldn't afford and we were using books from 1919. And we were the most talked about school district because we were so outdated with the books and materials that we had. And just to tag on what my brother said, he knew too, he was here. And to see this happen today says a lot about what we're doing as a district, not as individuals, but as a district, and how when you work together with the people in the city that you work for, the district you work for, look what we can accomplish. So why change that? Why change that? Let's keep doing what we're doing because it's for our children. That's my statement. That's why.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Roll call, please.
President Gary.
Yes.
I'm definitely voting yes. Trustee Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Terry.
Yes.
Trustee Turpin.
Yes.
VP Bowman.
Yes.
Treasurer Davis Smith.
Yes.
Sir, this passed 7-0.
Thank you. We're going to move down to operation maintenance items discussion. Bid packet 27 for the Pontiac High School waterproofing Pontiac High School gymnasium. Sue.
Thank you. We are excited to bring forth another bond project, and we thank our community for supporting us to be able to do this. This is the waterproofing phasing for the Pontiac High School
All right.
gymnasium floor. It will be a beautiful product once it is completed. And at this time, I will turn it over to our Director of Facilities, Mr. England.
Thank you.
I'm actually taking over for Mr. England. He is
Okay.
Oh, look
getting
at the
back late
teammates.
from his vacation.
Oh, yeah,
Look-
that's
look at
right.
the
He's on
teammates.
vacation. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Graham.
Mr. Graham, you're
Yes,
so
absolutely.
nice.
Absolutely. This project, Juan did mention a little bit of summary of what this project was. I will invite him and Brian from IDS. If anybody do you have any more explanation you guys want to share with us on this project?
Yes, I can go through the 4 key points that we have designed into this project. The first one is upgrading the waterproofing that is currently on the exterior underground walls of the gymnasium. As everyone may know, the gymnasium is called partially a basement. It is below grade. So as part of keeping the water from getting in below grade and going underneath what will be the new wood gym floor, we will be upgrading the waterproofing along with upgrading what is known as drain tile, the pipe underneath to take moisture that it collects and pull it away from the building. Additionally, the 3 sides of the building that you would see from Arlene, north, west, and south, it has what is known as a EFIS, or call it a stucco system on there. We are going to remove that. That has been a source of many leaks coming through the joints, and it will be covered over with insulated metal wall panel. The ventilation system will be upgraded 2-part. 1, because the louvers are actually allowing moisture to get into the building. But then 2, we are going to improve the circulation in the space. Again, we're not adding air conditioning. We're just going to improve the circulation so any moisture that gets in will be evacuated out of the building. And the final one, not much to do with waterproofing, but we had the opportunity. We are updating the lighting in this space.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Graham, was that it?
I'm happy to read the background rationale if you'd like me to.
Do you want them to read it? We've read this about 7 times, but
I'm
not
fine.
interested. Okay,
Either
good.
way.
Okay. But just for the public's sake, a breakdown, we were waterproofing the gym, so we had to replace this floor again. Just flat out. Like that was the hardest process of getting this material in and getting it done and getting this approved and get it out for bid, because it was one spot that messed up on the floor. And I think we thought it was going to be less than $100,000 project, but then it ended up being more. They end up doing environmental. Thank God they did environmental. And the insurance is covering most of the cost of actually redoing the whole gymnasium. So the kids are going to have an absolute beautiful facility to be able to win some more championships in.
That's
So
right.
I appreciate that. We're going to move down to Pontiac Middle School Special Education Furniture. Superintendent.
Thank you. We are excited to bring forth the package for the special education furniture. The designs are beautiful, and our students with special needs will be so excited. And I commend Dr. Jameson's team along with Dr. Eccles in doing their due diligence and identifying the furniture that will best suit our special needs students. Our families will be very happy, as well as our taxpayers. So again, this is from the bond, and we are able to bring in 21st century furniture for our students. I'll turn it over to Mr. Graham.
Yes, again, this is for the middle school. There will be additional furniture for other buildings. But as superintendent indicated, this is very specific furniture for the needs of those students. And we are excited to be able to purchase this and integrate it into the day-to-day life of our students.
All right. Thank you. Comments? Trustee Gross.
Thank you. Madam Superintendent, I'm glad that we present this information, because sometimes when you sit at a board meeting and you say, yeah, you approve this, approve that, and that's all, we check. But people need to truly understand what it is that we're doing.
Right.
We're making this district the best for our students. Think about this. And without their help with the bond, we couldn't afford to bring this stuff in here for our children.
Correct.
We're talking about furniture for special needs.
Right.
Now, if you can name me 10 other school districts in this county, let alone the state, that is making decisions like this for their students, because it's costly, then show me. So I want the city of Pontiac to see what it is that we're doing. And what we're spending this money on is to ensure that every child is receiving the best.
That's right.
Every child. And this is something that you don't hear about all the time. Furniture for special needs students in the middle school. I just want to throw this out. Please pay attention to what we're doing here. It's not about just spending money or willy-nilly. It's about doing what's best for our students. And you commended Dr. Jameson because she saw the need.
That's right.
You hear what I'm saying? Our people are seeing the need for students. They can say, oh, well, we can just move forward and continue to do the same old thing. But I appreciate you presenting this in our board meeting, presenting this to us, and clearly having it stated on so that people can understand what it is that we're doing here. And I thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? I shake my head because I remember not so long ago, well, we had a culture where you couldn't even make a recommendation. You will be written up for even considering it. And it's a great district. And I'm so glad. I'm hoping that we can get more of the information out and people start to see what they have invested in, because you invest in this, whether you work here or you give your taxes here or you just picking up a kid and mentoring a kid, like you investing in the district. But I need people to understand why they're investing in it, and this is clearly one of those examples. And when I see things like this, and it may not mean anything to anybody, but to be able to understand in urban education, it's a business. And people do some crazy things for dollars. And I'm grateful that we now have a culture where a professional can make another recommendation to another professional, their boss. It be considered, looked at, brought to the board, and reestablishing our students who don't have to injure themselves on just regular furniture like their counterparts. We get special furniture for them that when they have an episode because they have not been treated or things have not taken place or mentally that day they just not catching it. I ain't got to worry about somebody hitting their head on a hard table or a hard chair. That means something. But to some people that don't know what we do and how we do it and the reasons why we do it, that's why we have a process, a democracy, right? We're going to move down to the action items. Approval of Board Packet 27, Pontiac High School waterproofing, Pontiac High School gym. Need a motion on the floor, please.
So moved.
So moved by trustee Hannah, supported by trustee Bowman. Questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, roll call.
I'm voting yes. Trustee Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Terry.
Yes.
Trustee Turpin.
Yes.
Vice President Bowman.
Yes.
Treasurer Davis Smith.
Yes.
President Garrett.
Yes.
Sir, that passed 7-0.
Yeah. Like, yes. Action item, moving down to B, approval of Pontiac Middle School special education furniture. Need a motion on the floor.
So moved.
So moved by trustee Davis Smith, supported by trustee Bowman. Questions, comments, or concerns to the motion? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Terry.
Yes.
Trustee Turpin. Vice President Bowman.
Yes.
Treasurer Davis Smith.
Yes.
President Garrett.
Yes.
I'm voting yes.
Okay, thank you. Vice President, we have any communications, petitions, or delegations?
There are none.
We have 0 communications, petitions, and delegations. Going to move down to board comments and announcement. Trustee Turpin.
Yes, I would like to say it's a sincere gratitude and appreciation to all of our retirees who service our district over the years. I hope you'll have a wonderful life after working here in the district. Be safe and best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Hannah.
Hello. I would like to say thank you to our staff, our teachers for hanging in there, for their dedication and their commitment to our district. Congratulations also to our retirees. Thank you so much for your service and your commitment to this district and especially to our students. I would also like to thank Dr. Eccles and her team, Stacy Jackson and her team. I know we've talked a lot about the infrastructure, the investments that we've been putting into our buildings, but I'm also happy that we are also putting the same type of investment into our curriculum through this Envision math resource programs that we have in the books that we're also now able to afford our students. So we're not only showing how much we want to improve the outside, but we're just as committed to improving the inside, and those are our students. I would like to say, along with that, I'm happy to know that the district is partnering with Oakland Community College to be able to offer 20 plus students this summer the opportunity to take college readiness courses to help them prepare for college, help them to get an idea of what college is like. So these students that are 11th graders that will soon be 12th graders will go into their senior year prepared and ready to transition into that next level of learning. And also the district is able to partner with the Lomas Brown Foundation and offering learn, earn, and play enrichment camps for our middle school students. So again, these are just some of the things that the district is doing that I'm excited about, why we're here to support them and the work that we're doing because of the passion that we do have for our kids. I also would like to congratulate Mr. Lee Montgomery on your position into the principal role at Pontiac High School. I have observed Mr. Montgomery on several occasions when I've been over at the high school, his leadership, his respect, his compassion that he has for these students, but most importantly, the respect that they have for him. So I'm happy that we have an African-American male in this position that not only can be a role model in the classrooms, but they see someone that looks like them and they can admire and respect. Ms. Jeter, congratulations on your position. You come highly recommended by Dr. Bell, and we definitely look forward to seeing you continue to succeed in your new role leading this department. And that's all I have, President Garrett.
Wow. Oh yeah, Trustee Davis Smith, you're gonna have to go behind that. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
So I would like to congratulate our retirees with their dedication to our students in district. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Eccles and Ms. Jackson on our curriculum presentation and the updates on how well our sex ed curriculum is coming along. Congratulations, Ms. Jeter. Also, thank you for your commitment to our students and moving up into your position. Also, Mr. Montgomery, I would like to congratulate you on your new position as head principal. Mr. Montgomery was my son's principal in the middle school, and he did a great job. And I really feel that we need more male teachers in administration in the school districts. Also, I was visiting the different schools for field day with the students, and it was a great feeling to hear teachers and staff come up to me and say how they were happy about the changes that we're doing and the upgrades that we're doing in the schools. Usually when I come to the schools, they're complaining about something and they want some changes in a different way. So it was great to hear some great news. And so I feel that we're on the right path because everyone is happy with what we're doing. And that's all I got to say tonight. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you. Mr. Secretary, sir. Trustee Terry.
No, I want to know.
He wants to hear from you first.
I want to
You want
know.
You mind if you short today? Okay, Trustee Terry.
Yeah, because I'm
okay. He likes to. He wants to hear Trustee Terry. Hey, Mrs. Terry. I didn't say that. I'm sorry. I didn't say. Hi, Mrs. Terry. How you doing? Good. Okay. That's normally my pre-game warm up like LeBron, but I missed that. So, Trustee Terry, go ahead.
All right, good evening, everyone. Just a short wrap up. I want to admit, I know I'm new to the board, and I've been here for a few months now. I've learned a lot. I've learned and met a lot of people, and I've experienced some good, I guess you want to say, moments. I'll put it like that. The time I've been here, it's been wonderful. The team I've been working with has been wonderful. I would say nothing but positive things here. It's been a pleasure being here, working and moving Pontiac School District forward. I'm looking forward to moving that forward as long as I can. And awesome team. I just want to say awesome team. The administration team, awesome team. Everyone that we've been working with, teachers, everyone in the school district, the bus drivers. It's been awesome these last few months. We've got a lot of things accomplished. As you know, if you've been coming to our meetings, if you have not, please get out there and check some of those out. But as a school district, we are moving forward. A lot of things have happened in the past. Myself, I am aware of a lot of things that have taken place, but I can say being here now on this board specifically and having the opportunity to make changes and have that type of influence for the community, to give back to the students, to make sure we're on the right track, it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. So I want to say thank you for the opportunity, for being here. And I'm looking forward, going forward, to a lot of great things. For all the ones that are retiring, we appreciate all of your dedication and hard work. I myself can't even imagine being in a position for many years as some of you have. And to me, that's just awesome. It truly shows your dedication, not only to the school district, but to your students. So continue that within yourself as you move on into your retirement roles. Feel free to come back and, help out with the students, dedicate some of your time, whatever you can. And if not, go out and enjoy yourself. You worked hard and you earned it. So for the ones that are coming into new positions, congratulations. Looking forward to seeing what you have to bring and all of your energy and moving Pontiac forward as well. So congratulations on your new positions. And then as far as all of the changes go, let's continue to make that happen. The school books, that's awesome. A lot of changes are happening to the facilities. That is awesome. So I'm looking forward to, once a lot of these are completed, being able to get out there and partake. I know one of the things was big is the sports and athletics. So changes are coming. So we're looking forward to getting everyone involved. So once again, thank you. And it's been a blast. And I'm looking forward to moving forward with the school district of the city of Pontiac to greater, bigger, and better things. Thank you.
Trustee Terry, thank you. I thank you for doing that, because he does kind of get me. He does push me in that, and he gives me the shift the focus. I appreciate that. Trustee Gross.
I'm
Yeah.
There's a couple of things, and I want to say this personally before I say what I really want to say this evening. And to Ms. Jeter, I know I appreciate you stepping up, and here you are, and continue, and then you'll be able to pass on what you've learned to someone else when you make that decision to leave us. I will personally congratulate Mr. Montgomery, because you all know that even prior to me coming back on this board, I've always been a participant in athletics in this district, and that's my heart, what I love to do, because it's with our children. And he was the one who brought me back here to be a part of the athletic family, and I appreciate that. So that allowed me to monitor what he's done in this district, and I've seen it personally. And so I will personally let him know how I feel about his hiring, and I thank him for that. So now to talk about, I won't go into details because I know my brother is going to say a couple of things, but I made a decision some time ago that it was extremely important to be a part of this board. Although I always reminisce and I always say things here at this table, and I talk about what happened in the past. And I have to continue to remind myself that I always say, and I say to my kids that I work with in my daily job and probation, that you should never allow your past to condemn you, but to teach you, to make you a better person than where you were before, to get you further in life, to teach you, but not to condemn you. So I made the decision to come back to this board because of the things that I learned previously in my past to make me a better board member. And I wanted to bring that back here to this board. So I began to see things differently. The improvements, the enhancements, the attitudes, the behaviors, the understandings, the communications amongst not just the board members, but within this district. And I made the decision that I will do things differently than I did in the past, not become so emotional, angry, disappointed, because I began to understand things differently. So I choose to deal with them differently. So as I continue on this journey on this board, and I made those type of decisions, I began to enjoy my position here more. I do. I love what I do here because it's for the betterment of our children. So whoever these individuals are, or individual, that continue to bombard us with these negative emails. Now, I don't want to speak for everyone else here, but I'm speaking for Trustee Gross. Don't send that crap to me. Stop it, because you're not going to get anywhere with me when you send these negative things. So whoever you are that continues to send this information, thinking you're going to get some sort of reaction, judgment, choice, or decision, you're not getting it here in this position. So stop. 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 You're not getting anywhere with that. So stop. I no longer want to deal with that. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear with it. I don't want to deal with it. So stop sending it because it's not working. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Madam Vice President, good evening.
Good evening.
She's like, he don't be getting off like that. Now, wait a minute.
Okay. I would like to say thank you so much to our retirees. It is just beautiful that you all have stuck with Pontiac School District in spite of everything. You persevered and stayed with us until the time for you to spread your wings and do something different. Thank you so much for the time that you've given this community. I'm proud to say that we do start from within our district, where we don't go look outside first to find, oh, let's go find someone else from some. We keep it home first, and I appreciate that. Mr. Montgomery, thank you so much for what you have done within this community. I remember when I used to sub at Pontiac High, and you were one of the people that I would lean to for direction and guidance. I appreciate you, and I thank you for being a person of integrity and carrying yourself and being an example for these young people in this district. Ms. Jeter, thank you so much. You know, I had the pleasure to graduate with your sister, I believe, and you and your family has always been within this community a good name to hear. So Jeter, good job. Good job. Thank you. And I also wanted to touch on the updates that we're continuing in this district. We are continuously moving forward with updates to our building, with our books, with our technology. There's so much misinformation in this community. So many people keep referring to things that happened well before this board, years and years ago. I would say this: how about you watch a few meetings, because we inform our community and we keep our community apprised of the things that are going on. So before we start speaking on things that we know nothing about, maybe go back and watch a few meetings, maybe tune in a little more frequently. And when people hear things in the community that's not on the positive side on the Pontiac School District, how about we press pause for a minute and get some information before we continue to spread the untruths that continue to happen in this community. And to lean on what Trustee Gross said, I'm glad that whoever sends this information didn't send it to me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Because as it's stated, Superintendent Kelly Williams is not going anywhere. She does a good job. You do a great job. Thank you for your cabinet. Thank you for all that you do. And for everyone, thank you for my board members. Thank you all for standing up to the plate, coming up here. This isn't an easy job, but we do it because we love this community. So thank you. I hope everyone has a good night. And Phoenix, we're continuing to rise. So thank you.
See, y'all shift me. You know, you give me a proper space to operate in. I ran on 4 principles. I live my life by these principles: safety, accountability, financial stability, and economic success. Those are the principles of a Garrett. Those are the principles of a Garrett man. Those were passed down by my dad, and his dad gave them to him. And my grandfather ensured that that's what we do. That's who we are. And we protect those pillars on every level. I make no apologies for who I am. I make no apologies for the things I had to get to or who I had to become to get to where I'm at right now. I don't quit until I see those 4 principles in anything I'm involved in. I know the Pontiac School District. I know every entryway in every building. You can test me on it. I know where the crooked stairwells are at the middle school. Now, do I expect everybody to be that involved in what they do? Yes, absolutely. That's the expectation for me. And if you don't, you fall short. That's how I look at it. Because you have an expectation from me. And I don't think it's fair that I have to be held to a higher standard than the next human being. When you're talking about servicing somebody else's kids. We ain't talking about cars or technology, books or anything. We're talking about kids, educating kids. No, the standard is you put your life on the line. You perform. 25 years of protecting this city, I'll put my police record up against anybody in the country as it relates to justice. Conversation around justice reform before it even became the popular word. I was raised by strong Black women that didn't take no mess from nobody. And when they told me to show up and show out, they expect you to show up and show out. Strong Black women. So I want you to, little Bible study for Monday. I want you to read up on a woman named Deborah. And I'm going to leave you with that. And Deborah was a war strategist. And it was a guy named Barack that went to go get her because he wasn't scared because he had 10,000 cats with him. He was ready to go down there and handle his business, but he wanted the ultimate victory. Deborah had a strategy, and he went and looked at Deborah and said, I need you to come with me. Now, they wasn't married. They wasn't kicking it. They wasn't any of that. He knew she was the strongest strategist in the country at that particular point in time because he knew what he was up against. Let me do you a favor. You better get you a woman, some strong women on your team. So when you say you want to smoke, you got a fire fight before you even think about touching me. I don't take threats. I take them personal. And Mr. Pontiac, whatever you sent your email, that was personal. That was a personal threat. Yeah, that was a personal threat. And you said in your email, we'll see this after the board. Hello. That's in about 10 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to protect this with my life. For 25 years is what I've been used to doing. I can't change that because I put on a shirt and tie and took an oath, another oath. So when you can do what I can do at the level I can do it, you might want to think about before you start sending emails about threatening me and what you're capable of and people and hiding behind emails. Can we just make loving people normal again? We're going to make that normal again in the Pontiac School District. But I always tell people, I don't look for problems. But if you want a problem, I don't have a problem. And that's just me. I'm not your regular politician. I'm not about to sing Kumbaya with you, hold your hand. That's not why I came back. So somebody got to fight the boogeyman, and that'd be me. So I appreciate this board. I appreciate you, Superintendent Williams. I appreciate Lee Montgomery. I appreciate every staff that continues to bring us and support our children. And Soup, I told you this before, and I'm going to tell you this again. I tell you publicly. We got your back. We got your back. And what happens in Black communities, specifically educated Black communities, what has happened is that other Black people have tried to destroy Black people for whatever reason. But we're going to deal with you, Black people. Yep. Yeah. 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 Black people. Our people. Destroying other people, other Black people. That's the facts. So all the innuendos, all the things you didn't heard, everything you didn't saw, all that. When we start talking about elections and running and all that kind of stuff, don't be disrespectful. Know the truth. I think Vice President Bowman just said it best. Please do your homework, do your research. Don't be disrespectful. Run it clean. This time is personal. This time is it is personal. You heard it here. It's personal. It's personal. These are kids' lives. It's personal. So If you don't like it, we'll deal with it. But it's personal. So we don't have no questions about it. We clear? We don't, I hope I said that enough. It's personal. Because it's business. It's $100 million corporation we just voted on today. It's personal. It's personal for me. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved by Trustee Bowman, supported by Trustee, moved by Trustee Bowman, supported by Trustee Gross and Trustee Smith, David Smith. That's fine. Okay. Roll call, please.
Trustee Terry,
Yes.
Trustee Turpin,
Yes.
Vice President Bowman,
Yes.
Treasurer David Smith,
Yes.
President Garrett,
Yes.
I'm voting yes, and Trustee Ela.
Yes.
Sir, we're adjourned. Official time.
8:20.
Thank you, sir.
Good night, folks. Thanks to y'all for visiting. Appreciate y'all. Please come back.